Okay. So, okay. So, hello. Thank you for coming. We may have a few more. About sort of like 10 or 15 people said they were going to come, but we'll see. I'm recording it so I can pass it out to people. So that's just saying. So the plan is that I'll just talk about how the high school diploma works, but I know that you may or may not be interested in that. But kind of in the context of what DMOX does, it might be helpful. You might have heard of the high school diploma. Maybe it is what you are doing. Maybe you're already doing it. So I'll explain about the high school diploma, and then I'll just explain what APs are as part of that, and then just also mention some of the GCSE courses we do. But yeah, that's the plan. Okay, so uh, so my partner's not very well. She was going to be here. She's not very well, so it's just me this evening. So we both are in the UK, and we both have got 7 children. We've got lots of children between us, and we've been doing a high school diploma for quite a long time. And our kids are kind of like at the end of the sort of process now. So we're kind of we've both got kind of like, just our last ones kind of going through. And for us, when we got to A level, when we kind of got to that university, kind of the end of it with our eldest ones, then it wasn't enough to get into university. So A levels are enough to go into British universities, but it wasn't enough to get into British universities. We had to look for something else. And because we were in the American system, it kind of made sense to look at American options. So we looked at APs, and they just had several advantages. So that's how we ended up with DMOX, and that's how we, started doing this. So we've been doing it for we think 3 or 4 years. 4 years now, I think we've had classes for, and it's just kind of grown. So the high school diploma, if you don't know, I just think it's easier to think of it in terms of pillars. So you have the high school diploma bit, and then you have the SAT bit, and then the APs bit. There's like 3 separate things, which kind of go alongside, but you don't necessarily have to do all parts of it, and not everybody does all parts of it. But you'll sort of hear them all kind of mentioned, so just to sort of get an idea of how it all fits together. So the high school diploma part of it. Now, I know it's very small writing, particularly if you're on a phone, so you have to make it bigger. I just think if you actually see the finished thing, which I never actually saw to my last one when graduated, I think it just makes it a lot clearer what it is that you're doing. So it's a 4-year course of study, and it's grades 9 to 12. So this is the year 9. No, actually, it also says year 9. Okay, so which you shouldn't. Okay, so this is year 9. They say this is year 10, this is year 11, this is year 12. And you'd have your courses listed down, and you get grades for your courses. And then at the end of it, you have a certain number of credits, and you have to amass a certain number of credits. It's going to be somewhere in the region of about 25 credits to be able to get your high school diploma. And if you do GCSEs, then GCSEs could be incorporated into the high school diploma. If you do APs or A levels, they could also be incorporated into the high school diploma. So it's pretty flexible. If you do GCSE, that'll give you 2 credits because it's a 2-year course. So that's what the high school diploma is. And there's certain requirements. So you have to do Algebra 1, you've got to do geometry, you've probably got to do US history. So I've got to do phys ed, you've probably got to do a biological science and a physical science. There'll be certain requirements, but how you do that and whether you do exam courses or non-exam courses, there's so much more flexibility about that than there is in the kind of GCSE or UK system. So there's many different ways that you can do Algebra 1 and many different ways you could get a biology credit. So there's less, I know there's fewer people do fewer exams, I guess, but you could just do all classes and you could do all exams. That's what you chose to do. And just what I was saying, really, it's broader than UK qualifications. You don't have to do exams. But it's not going to be enough for most people to get into a British university. Okay, it'd be enough to get into an American university, but probably not for a British university. So you've got to do something else. So the next thing that you probably are going to do is an SAT. And the SAT is a maths and English. It's going to be not as high as A level, but higher than GCSE, and not as high as an AP. It costs about £70. you can do it many different times a year. It occurs. You go to a school on a Saturday morning, and you do it. It takes about 3 hours. You get results in a couple of weeks. So whatever your posh local independent, school is, that's where you can do it. Get a mark out of 1600. It's not all multiple choice. And there's a maths part and a reading comprehension part and a grammar part up to it. So not a grammar. It's not like asking you what's a gerund or something, but it's just lots of sentences, and it will ask you whether this one is right or this one or this one, or whether the comma should be in that place or that place or that place. And then there's reading comprehension, so unseen passages that you'll be asked, what does that mean? And then maths questions, 2 maths sections. And we do SAT prep for that. I'm doing a course at the moment for that. And then the next part of it is APs. So let's leave you to read that. So the win-win for British students is that they're only 1 year. So A-levels tend to be difficult to do from home. You can do them, but most homeschoolers don't do them. They end up going to going to college, which you may or may not want. Personally, that really isn't what we wanted, which is why we did APs. So it's a 1 year preparation. Some require previous study, depends on what it is. Obviously, you wouldn't want to do an AP in Spanish unless you've done some Spanish, or you wouldn't want to do an AP in biology unless you've done some biology. I teach economics, for example. You don't need to have done any economics beforehand. It's a 2-hour exam, happens in May each year. Exam centres are always a tricky thing for APs. We have a centre in London that we're using, but if you live in the north of England, then you've got a way to travel. But they're only 1 hour papers, so that's an advantage. You've only got to come down once for the 1 hour, for one paper. And how do you kind of know, how does it work with British universities? How do you kind of like know what your British university wants? Well, so you look at the international section. So you go there with British qualifications, but you go there with British qualifications, but you have you go there as a British student, but you have international qualifications. So you pay British fees. You don't pay international fees. So on the Southampton website, you would look at international, and then you would look at USA, and then it would have, this is what it has. So it tells you what you need. So you would need 3 APs. They get scored at a 5. Like, it's a numerical score. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 being the highest. So they want 3 APs. They want 5s in all of them. These things don't exist anymore, but it's still up there, but they don't exist anymore. Okay, so that was if you have a course at Southampton University that in the English A-level equivalent was that, then that's what you would need for the AP scores. This is Cambridge. So Cambridge actually, I think, want 5. So they want 5 APs. Most don't. So Reading want your high school diploma with a GPA of 3, that's a B and everything. And they want these, depending on what you're doing, I guess, at Reading, they want these for your APs. Nottingham have got different, they'd say they want it by case basis. It's just like to show you that they're all different. So every university has got their own thing. They will say something different. Nottingham want this. Okay, but so you can obviously, whatever it is you want to do, you can see what they want. They're usually very helpful. If you contact them and tell them what you're doing, they're really helpful. Surprisingly helpful, British universities. This is what we offer with Dumox, and I'm not going to sort of go through and explain lots about each of them. Maybe, I'm happy to talk about any of them if you want to know more about any of them. And we'll probably do another session some other time about explaining all the different, going into more detail, but they're the ones that we do. And this is how it works. So we do, it's 30 weeks. We do Zoom classes, and we have a specialist teacher. So you have a 1 hour class. Say you do AP Micro. I've got that tomorrow morning. So I've got a class of students, and I do an hour Zoom, and then everything else is set up on Google Classroom. So they have all their work set up. And we also use AP Classrooms. There's a huge amount of resources on the AP Classroom that you get access to. So loads of videos for kids to watch. And we do mock papers. We report back to the parents every 10 weeks, get a book list. So, it's set up as like an online class. So you do 1 hour with the teacher, and then the rest of the time it's set up and you have homework each week to do for that. And we also doing GCSEs, just because we're in the UK and a lot of people are combining GCSEs and APs, and it's just proved, we weren't sure, but they proved quite popular. So we're doing APs, just put history up there today, but doing history next year. And then we just do okay, this is just our pricing. We've actually got an early bird on at the moment. There's also this offer on tonight. Anyone is signing up for our courses? That's our prices. And these are just like some of the enrichment classes we do. So we just do about, like a bunch of other classes. Okay, so that's it. I mean, that's me, me doing my bit, and it would usually take longer if there's two of us doing it. But so I'm just happy to answer questions if people have got questions, either like in the chat or I guess the other thing we do is that we often like do one to, people just, ask to speak to us. There's a contact form. I was actually going to put it in the chat. We've got like a contact form in our website. And so if people just want to meet us, just because, everyone's situation is different and your kids are different, and, you don't know whether they should be doing this or that, or so we often just, meet with parents to go through, what it is that they want to know about their kids. And so you're very happy to do that as well. It's a lot of money, I appreciate it's a lot of money, and you want to be sure you're doing the right thing.
Well, Helen, this is Juliana from Colombia, and
Hi,
you may remember me from Manchester.
I do.
How are you?
Good,
Uh,
good, good.
okay, good to see you. I'm sorry, possibly for all of the other people, that's pretty clear, but can you explain me what the last ones you talked about, like these GCSEs, what are those? CGA, yeah, what are those?
They're British qualifications, so they're that's our kind of, our unique, our USP is that we have like a mixture of American and American and British qualifications. So, but what's actually happening is that we've got a lot of American students actually doing. For my son, for example, my son's doing a GCSE Spanish course because it's quite a nice course and it fits really well. So he won't do the exams. You could do a GCSE in Spanish and get a British qualification for it, but he won't ever do the OGCSE exam. But he's actually doing it as a course because it's a good course. He's going to do it as a course for his high school diploma, so he'll get Spanish credit for it. So we have, and I've got another student this year. I teach business studies, so I've got an American student doing the GCSE business course. But they won't do the exam in it. They'll just take it as a high school credit. So we've got a kind of mixture of, we've got this mixture sort of going on here, which works well because we have students from all over the world doing our courses, which is kind of fun, really.
Yeah, but so those are like they get extra credit, they get special credit. Are they okay? Are those also like accepted in the US?
Yeah, well, they would be just, you would just put them in your high school diploma. So, I mean, I don't think it would work for maths very well because your maths is so different in the US because you do algebra 1 and then geometry, and the British maths is just very different. So I don't think it would work. It'd be like a general maths credit, I guess. So I don't think it would work for that. But we've only got GCSEs in sort of 6 subjects. So it's to say, for example, history. You could certainly do the history GCSE, and then you could have a history credit, it would just be a history credit. It's a 2-year course, so you could do it for 2 years or do it for 1 year. Does that make
Okay.
sense? Was that confusing?
Well, it's just new, so
Uh-huh.
yeah.
Yeah, I'll send you an email and try and explain it a bit better.
Thank you
Okay.
so much. Thank you.
what do people want to, or where are people at? You know, so I could explain this. Is this what people want to know, or tell me what it is that where are you at, or what you're are you? I know are people here because they're thinking about doing APs or thinking about high school diploma, or
A couple of us on here haven't really even started the high school diploma. We're just thinking about it.
okay.
So
So
this,
you got younger kids.
yes.
Okay.
So probably this is a bit advanced for us.
But it's we do lots of different presentations, so depending on who we have, I mean, we can spend like an hour explaining the high school diploma, but I don't want to explain the high school diploma if people are like doing GCSEs and like that's just not of any interest to them. So we
Yeah,
do several different presentations depending on where kind of people are at. But
that was really good because I didn't understand the difference between the SATs and the APs, and so I have learned. Thank you.
Okay, but yeah, but the high school diploma, I think for a Brit takes you like a long time to get your head around because it's so different. It's such a different sort of process. It's just not. It's just so different, like how everything's assessed and it's just there's not accredited in the same way and there's no standardization in the same way. It's just so different.
Yeah.
So yeah, it takes some explaining. Yeah, but you know, are you thinking about signing up with somebody or what's your?
We are, but I mean, looked at it may even have been you answered a question actually in a Facebook group the other day. I'm not sure because I was looking at one of them that looks fantastic, but they want 30 credits.
Okay.
And I don't think our boys are going to go to uni, and so we're kind of just umming and ahhing.
Okay.
It seems a lot of work, but then GCSEs are kind of really boring, and
yeah,
it does sound more interesting doing the high school diploma.
Yeah, I mean the drawback is you don't finish it till you're 18, you know, so you get and the high school diploma is only equivalent to 5 GCSEs. So you're finishing at 18 with something other people will be finishing at 16. So that's the downside of it.
What, the whole high school diploma is only equivalent to 5 GCSEs?
Correct. Yeah.
I didn't realise that.
Yeah,
okay.
That's the downside of it. So that's the so the reason being, it's the standard of it, not for everybody. That's because there's no the accreditation of it is it's just not the same as a GCSE. So people could get a high school diploma and they could have say for example with maths, you could have like 4 levels of maths that are much higher than another child who's got 4 levels of maths that are much lower. And the high school diploma will just give you a high school diploma and it will give you kind of grades for your courses and it will have your courses written on it. But as a qualification, it's almost like the lowest level it could be is 5 GCSEs. So for most kids, the high school diploma is way above 5 GCSEs. But because it's not accredited in the same way as a GCSE, like you don't have this external kind of body marking things and having a standard, it's just so you don't people do 4 very different levels of maths. People just don't do the same maths for a high school diploma. So they almost kind of say the lowest level is the 5 GCSEs. So, which is why we do the AP, which is why you can't get into university with it. That's the point, that you can't university with it, which is why we do APs, you know. So, so if you've got children that are not particularly academic, it's just a consideration, you know. But you could also start it a year earlier. So you could also start the high school diploma in British year 9. So then you then just finish a year later. And it has so much more flexibility. You can use so many more things, you know, so you could do a course on, I don't know, setting up a computer business, or you could do a course on architecture, or, you know, it's just, there's so much more flexibility in what you do. Everything could be, you know, sort of like, I don't know, non-exam or kind of like coursework and stuff. So it can work really well, you know, so I suppose you have to be creative about it.
But if we're planning 3 GCSEs anyway, English, maths and computer science, that's only worth 6 credits.
Correct. Yeah.
Whereas actually he could just do 2 more GCSEs.
Yeah, and then be done. Yeah.
Right.
So I put you off.
Yeah, that might put me off. But thank you.
Yeah, but no, but it's good to know. I mean, it's like it's absolutely good to know. Yeah. Yeah, we don't. I mean, Dumox is not about we're not trying to sell I mean, the whole high school diploma's worked really great for my kids, and you know, it's worked really well. But we don't do a high school diploma. We're not sort of selling that. I know lots of people that do it. So yeah, but come and do GCSEs with us. So
the boy I'm thinking of, he's already in year 9, so we
okay,
could really. I think he's in year 9. Yes, so we couldn't start it early because we're.
okay, yeah.
Thank you very much.
Okay, no problem. But come and do GCSEs with us.
I will have a look. Thank you.
Do. Okay. Yeah, go on. Is it Bongi? Am I saying it right?
Yes, you're right. Yeah. Hi.
Hi.
Hi. Is it Helen? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Hi, Helen. Thank you so much for this presentation. So where I am is my daughter. She's 13. She's turning 14 in June, and I've recently taken her out of school. She is how can I say? She's not much academic, right? But then I also don't like she doesn't really, in terms of like a test situation, she doesn't do well. She gets really, like, she blacks out sometimes. So I just liked what you said about being flexible. But to be honest, where I am at this moment, I'm not exactly sure which one is which. I heard what you said, but it's not really sinking in. And so I think maybe I would appreciate if you can have like send me an email or something like that in terms of the options, because where I am at this moment is almost like crossroads where I'm not sure which option to take. But one thing for sure is that she doesn't need that pressure of exams, and so what I wanted to know is, like, okay, let's say, for example, I decide that she's going to do the diploma, right? Which it's an American based, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, but then still she wants to study here in the UK. So with all these things that you mentioned, like with the AP and the SAT and all of that, so that is the route. So when she does that, still she'll be able to attend the UK university.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. But if she's not that academic, then maybe she wouldn't be going to university. I mean, if she's not, if she's not like keen on studying, then maybe she'd do an apprenticeship or something. So then.
Well, she wants to do architecture. So,
okay.
And you mentioned that, and so she likes history as well. And so the things that she likes now, she likes architecture, and then she also likes law, of which so those are the two things that she's kind of like set on. And I mean, she was in year 9 at school. So
okay.
so I don't know, like that's what is happening at the
Okay,
moment.
so I put in the chat, there's 2 organizations there. If you just Google them, they both offer the high school diploma, and they'd be, both of them would be very happy to chat to you about that, and about what they can, how it would work for you, and what you could offer, what they would offer. And so that'd be that route, or you could just do GCSEs at home, and then so you can forget about the high school diplomas. You could do GCSEs at home, and then if you want to do APs, you could do APs, so you could do it like that, so maybe talk to the people about the high school diploma and see what you think, and see how that goes, and see whether that sounds appealing. And I mean, it's great. I mean, the high school diploma is great, but GCSEs have also got advantages as well. So but we're offering GCSEs next year, so she could certainly join us for some GCSEs in September. But I'd be very happy to kind of like talk to you, if you want to. So I put our contact details in the chat as well. So but very happy to talk to you.
Yes, please.
Next week or something. Sure.
Yeah, because I would like to also know about that. I saw that slide with them.
Or Juliana probably does a high school diploma.
Sorry?
The other lady we've got the chat here, she probably would offer you a high school diploma. Would you, Juliana?
Right.
Yes, of course. We can offer you a high school diploma from New World Dream Academy. We are a US-based academy, and we offer services as umbrella school. So you let us know what your
put your details in the chat, Juliana.
Oh yes, sure. Thank you. I will. Okay.
There you are.
Thank you.
there you are. So you've got someone you can chat to, Bongi.
Yeah, is that the new World Dream Academy?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, I've already opened it actually. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, so thank you so much. So going back to Helen, with the GCSEs, how does it work? Do you also do like the in terms of the exams?
No, you've got to book the exams separately. So we do the courses.
Yeah.
So if you just look at our, I can probably just open it up. So if we just look at our website, you would just pick a GCSE that you're kind of interested in, and then you sign up. So we've got it split here into US and UK courses. So it's a UK course. So say you wanted to do, I don't know, like maths or history or something. It's got the information about the course here, and it's got the how much it costs. It will take a while to load, and then let's check I'm sharing this. Yeah, I mean, you know, it's just got kind of information about the courses we do. Oh, it's not loading. Probably because I'm on Zoom. Probably can't cope with the bandwidth. There you are. Yeah, so just for all our GCSEs, it's just on our website, the times we do and stuff.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, you know, but yeah, well, Juliana's very happy to chat, and I'm very happy to chat. So yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, it's just a lot to take in. It's just a lot of information. It took me years to get my head around it, so I get it. Yeah, Hannah, hello. I can't hear Hannah. No, can't hear. Sorry. You need a child. Go find a child. Child will go and sort it out. It doesn't. You're not on mute, so I don't know why it's not working. Can you put it in the chat? Is it too complicated? You'll have to arrange a chance. So you have to arrange to chat to us. Joe or Paul, have you got any?
Yes, I put a question in the chat that hasn't been answered yet. I just wanted
sorry.
That's all right. I wanted clarification on where the exam centres are in the UK, because you mentioned there's London. Is that the only place in the UK? I mean, does Edinburgh offer them, for example?
No. Sorry. So we've got a Prometric is the organisation which for the first time got it in London this year, and there's a school in Oxford, like near Oxford, that has offered them this year. But if you know, it's just like trying to persuade someone to do it, you know, because if we could persuade someone in Edinburgh to do it, then that'd be great. And if anyone has contacts that they could persuade someone to do it, then that'd be great, you know. So I've tried, like, there was a school in Harrogate, which would be a lot closer to you. So there was a school that did them there, but they haven't done them they did it for 2 years. They were wonderful, Ashfield College in Harrogate. So they'd certainly be worth contacting, and they do APs. I mean, they offer APs to their students. So yeah, but I mean, I've tried many times to find more centres in the UK and haven't. But this year, thankfully, we are very pleased we've got Prometric, and they offer them in many countries in the world. But it is a pain. But we've got people coming over from Ireland to do them there. So I mean, that, you know, that's more difficult. And there's people coming from people in the UK that are going to Spain to do them because they're not offering every subject in London. All the subjects that Dumox do, they're offering, but they're not offering every subject. So some people are going to Barcelona for subjects. So that's definitely the downside. The downside, that's the most difficult part of it all, the exam part. There's no, they don't do APs online. I wish they did. It's like, yeah, nope, they don't. Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, sorry. So I'm looking at Joe's question. Yeah, so yeah, it's equivalent to 5 GCSEs and but no hires or A levels, and now social wants to go to university. Okay, the SAT Depends which university she wants to go to. Was it he or he? He or he? Yeah, she, sorry. If she wants to go to university, depends on the university. Scottish universities, you're in Scotland, aren't you? Scottish universities seem to be more welcoming of these American qualifications. So if you are happy, if you want to go to a top Scottish university, then you need to do APs. If you want to go to St Andrews or probably Glasgow or somewhere, then you'll probably have to do APs, or she'll have to do APs. But if you're not that ambitious, then the SAT would be enough. So, and that's the same in the UK. If you're particularly ambitious, then you need APs. If you're happy to go to a lower university, then you don't need the APs. Yeah, go on, Bongi.
Hi, Helen. Sorry, excuse my ignorance. So, the APs, are they equivalent to A levels?
Yeah.
Okay. And then the SATs?
No, the SAT is not equivalent to. It's not equivalent to anything. It's not. It's just like a standalone exam. It's not equivalent to a GCSE, or it's not equivalent to an A level. It's just an exam, kind of a standalone exam.
Okay.
But which
Okay.
a lot of British university, not every British university, but a lot of British universities want.
Okay, but so like you said, like the lower ones. So when you say the lower ones, are you talking about the ones that are not Russell Group?
Yes. So basically,
Okay.
the Russell Group ones want APs, but if you went to Worcester or Nottingham Trent, or some of the universities that are just not, I don't know, not as high status, I suppose, then you could have the high school diploma and the SAT, and that would be enough. But if you want to go to Bath University, you need APs. So it depends on which university you want to go to.
Okay, all right, I see. Thank you.
Do you want to try again, Hannah? Will it work?
Is it working now?
Yeah.
Oh, what happened? My husband came and waved his fingers and it worked.
Husbands do that.
Yeah, I don't know what he did. Anyway, thank you. I hadn't realised before about the fact. So am I right in thinking, I was kind of just jotted this down just to make sure I get it right, that effectively the high school diploma is the route to APs, which are then, or a SAT plus potentially APs, which then they themselves are the route to higher education.
Yes, but you don't have to do the high school diploma. You could do GCSEs, could be the route to APs as well. You could do GCSEs and then APs.
Or you could do the GCSE course and it counts as 2 credits.
Yeah.
Because it's 2 years. Okay.
Yeah. Many different ways.
Okay. Yeah, I think I was a bit surprised having not picked up on the fact that it sort of stands alone as the equivalent of 5 GCSEs. And it wasn't going to get you to university without. Well, it could do, but this is very odd. I think to a British mindset, that's really odd, isn't it? That it would give you that.
Yeah.
That because if you look at some of the umbrella schools, I did a call with homeschool directives. It looks so much more accomplished. Actually, the whole high school diploma looks much more accomplished and broad and rich than A levels even.
Yeah,
and
it's like. It's like you could have maths. The way I saw it, to explain it is maths. It's just kind of easier, I think. So you can have maths. Americans call maths. So you could have maths 7-6, and you could have maths. Sorry, yeah, you could have maths 8-7, and you could have. No, you wouldn't actually. No, it'd have to be algebra. It'd have to be algebra half. So you'd have to have algebra. Yeah, you have to have algebra half, algebra 1, and then geometry. Okay, so they'd be sorry, it's a bit messy. They would be your 4 levels of maths. Okay, so the least academic child would do those 4 levels of maths. Okay, but then you could have another child, and they could be doing sort of calculus 1, and then they could be doing advanced maths, and then they could be doing trig, and I don't know, calculus 2 or something. They could just be doing a completely different level of maths. And this kid could get A's for everything, and this kid could get A's for everything. And on the high school diploma, it does have the courses down. So so they're getting A's. So it will have the courses down. So you would be able to see this kid's a lot brighter. but it kind of like what universities want is the GPA. The university want the GPA, and this kid's got like a 4.0 in their maths, and this kid's got a 4.0 in their maths. So it just doesn't distinguish in the same way. So that's why. So the British, there's an organisation called ENIC who does these equivalencies for the US, but also for, you know, the Polish kids and the Israeli kids and the Spanish kids and the, you know, basically kids from all over the world that have come into the UK with different qualifications. They're trying to standardize them all, and they look at this for the American system and they say, well, kind of, we don't know whether you've done this or we've done this, so we just have to say you've done this. That's why. So it's
they
just,
kind of round it down effectively.
Exactly. Yeah.
A shame.
Yeah. So that's why. I can see why, but it's a bit daft, but there you go.
Okay. And at what point do you decide which of those two types of maths, or, you know, you had the blue bit and then the pink one?
Well, yeah, I mean, you want to do as, you know, as good a maths as you can. So I guess, but usually I suppose it's sort of self-determined, you know, that by the time you're in, most kids do the same. I mean, most kids are doing algebra 1. If they're doing a high school diploma, they do algebra 1 and algebra 2 and then geometry, you know, and maybe something else, maybe the bit before or the bit after it. But that's just, you know, so yeah. So whatever, if you're going to do a high school diploma, then you pray your kids would do a test, and then they'll say, right, okay, start with algebra half or algebra 1. Even the terminology is probably like a lot to get your head around, because it's just all so different. It's not.
And who would be doing this test? Like, where
the child. So if you sign up for a high school diploma, then Homeschool Directive, I think, would probably suggest a particular maths programs. They would suggest something called teaching textbooks, and teaching textbooks would have a test in which your child would probably do really well on some bits and really poorly in other bits, because it's just a different maths course. And then they would suggest you should start with this book, you know, and that's how it'd be.
Okay, so that's the benefit of using an umbrella school, and rather than just going to create your own transcript. Is that
okay, so creating your own transcript doesn't really work for universities, because they need to be accredited. So to get this, to even get this, to get this 5 credit equivalent, you've got to have an accredited diploma.
Okay.
So something like Homeschool Directive or Home Life Academy is accredited.
Okay.
So in America, you can make your own one up, but you can't really here. Doesn't seem to be working very well. Actually, for Scottish universities, it seems to be working much better. So I think for Joe, probably would work a lot. It seems to be more successful with Scottish ones than it is for British ones or English ones.
Okay. I think there was a lady on one of the calls I was on for Homeschool Directives, and she had actually done her own transcript.
Yeah.
And she's in England.
Okay.
But her children weren't going to Russell Group or Oxbridge kind of universities, and it was they actually got through partly by phoning up and having conversations, and that was partly the way through. But they had done the high school diploma, and probably not the super duper. I don't know, maths.
Yeah.
Part, I don't know.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's definitely phone them up, and they're, you know, there's so many anecdotal stories about people doing that, you know, but especially it's riskier, but but there's lots of stories about people like, you know, doing that and making their own one up, and, you know, was there something else, Bongi? Do you want to ask something else?
No. Sorry, I think I need to.
Sorry.
Just raise my hand. Yeah.
That's all right. That's okay. Yeah.
Can I just check, Helen?
Sure.
So if you've got IGCSE maths and IGCSE English, presumably you'd not need to have the SIT. You could just go and do APs and then get into a university. Yeah.
And there's also, there are so many different, there's not the same thing. So you might find Bath actually want you to have an SAT and an AP, but then Bristol don't. You know, it's like it's not like it's like there's not a consistency about it. So I would just check that. But I think you could also say we've actually got this and talk to them, and they might be open to it, but it's not consistent. So the thing about whether you need an SAT or not is not consistent. So I would have a look at, you know, if there's particularly, there might not be it, but I would look at the universities and, you know, see, I don't know, whether you need it or not. But that isn't the SAT. If you did need the SAT, that's not particularly difficult. It's a much easier thing than getting an AP or an A level or something. It's not it's not that difficult, like to get the SAT.
Yeah.
It's the easier thing to get, I would think, especially if you've done a GCSE, then it's not that difficult to get. So even if your boys definitely want to go to whatever, and they needed it, then it's doable.
Okay, good.
But yeah, it's all very complicated. I just think it's I always like think that that program mastermind, it's my sort of specialist subject. I mean, it's just a bit sad, really, but it's just like it's really boring. How would you map the IGCSE math onto a high school diploma? You would just do it at 2 years. So it just would be they probably would give it to you. I don't know how. I did have conversations with a lady from Homeschool Direct about how she was going to do it. I don't know precisely how they're doing it. I mean, so the program that I'm a consultant for it's a Catholic high school diploma, not nothing to do with democs, and the kids get they basically have to do a test for algebra 1, a test for geometry, and if they do the test, then they get the credit for it. So they actually have to do a particular test to put it on their high school diploma. Just because Americans need algebra 1 and geometry, they don't want GCSE. For maths, it has to be a particular name for the maths, and the GCSE maths doesn't fit very well into the American math system. It's just different. It's different. You do different things in GCSE maths as you do in American maths. It doesn't fit that well. So yeah, it's the people I'm doing it with. You've got to do a particular test for the algebra and the geometry, which is kind of it's not that difficult. It's quite doable to do. But I don't know what Homeschool Direct about. I don't know what they're doing about it. I don't know how they do it. You have to ask them. I'm not sure. But I think they've got a solution, because I know that they've definitely got people that are doing it. So they must have worked out what they're going to do. Okay, any more questions or? Okay, so I put the sort of contact us thing. I'll put it in again. And if anyone wants to like arrange talk, in detail about any courses or any particular APs or anything, then please do just contact us. Yeah. So anyway, I haven't made you more confused. I used to sort of go and have lists of questions. I used to sort of go and talk to people when I was figuring all this out with like lists of questions. So yeah, it's confusing. Okay. Anyway, nice to see you. Thank you for coming. And yeah, if you've got in contact, if you can help anymore. Okay. Have a nice evening, rest of the evening. Okay. God bless. Bye-bye.